Hello and welcome to Outsider Perspectives. This is a web series born out of my interest in international politics. The subject of today's video is the upcoming US presidential election. What my predictions are, what will likely sway the elections, and how voting trends will play out. This is one of the most contentious elections in recent memory. Donald Trump's election in 2016, in conjunction with the Brexit vote in the UK, marked a shift in the global political landscape. Donald Trump won the US presidency despite no prior political office, significant media opposition, and in-party political opposition that would continue well into his first term as president. Whether that opposition has been eliminated remains to be seen. However, it does appear to have subsided in recent weeks. Opposing President Trump primarily is the Democratic Party candidate Joe Biden. Whereas President Trump brought no prior political experience to his tenure as president, Joe Biden has a wealth of political experience. Not only is Joe Biden a former vice president of the United States of America, he has served as a senator for Delaware from 1973 to 2009 and is currently making his third attempt for the office of president, having done so in both 1988 and 2008. My prediction is that Donald Trump will win re-election. As far as the Electoral College is concerned, I predict a similar result to 2016, with Donald Trump taking many of the smaller states and Joe Biden securing traditional Democratic strongholds but failing to attract swing voters. Moving on to polling now. While nationwide opinion polls need to be taken with some skepticism, particularly after 2016, polling is nonetheless useful as an indicator for how the bases are feeling. The distinct enthusiasm gap between Donald Trump and Joe Biden is particularly worth noting. The volatile political and economic climate in the US, I believe, has galvanized the Republican base and its support for President Trump. Pew Research notes that among Trump voters, strong support has increased from 66% to 68% of respondents in the period from August to October 2020. Whilst Joe Biden has experienced a greater jump in the same time period from 46% to 57%, Pew notes that the voter base is more driven by an anti-Trump sentiment as opposed to a pro-Biden sentiment. Both candidates are experiencing high rates of voter certainty, with over 85% of both Trump and Biden voters indicating that they are certain of their vote. With regards to Joe Biden's voter support being largely anti-Trump as opposed to pro-Biden, I believe that this is largely based on the comparative rejection of more populist candidates such as Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Tulsi Gabbard. The Guardian has been reporting fortnightly trends in what it deems key states in this election. It has 8 states listed as key battlegrounds: Florida, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, North Carolina, Arizona, Wisconsin, and Iowa. Guardian polls show Joe Biden leading in all but 2 of those states, those being Ohio and Arizona. I believe that there are 5 key states in the election, those being Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona. My reasoning is based off of the high Electoral College vote count in each of these states, combined with the relatively narrow margins that Donald Trump won these states in 2016. New York Times election results from 2016 note that Donald Trump won none of these 5 states by more than a margin of 150,000 votes. Between these 5 states is a total of 86 Electoral College votes, almost a third of the number required to win the presidency. As far as other voting trends go, I predict that Joe Biden will sweep the West Coast, with the exception of Alaska, and retain most of, if not all of, the Northeast. What will be most notable is to see by what margins he holds these areas. Hillary Clinton won Democratic strongholds in 2016 by very large margins. The New York Times records cited earlier show that in 2016, Clinton won Illinois and Massachusetts by almost 1 million votes apiece. She won New York by 1.7 million votes, and she won California by over 4 million votes. While I anticipate a decrease in those voting margins, I do still believe that Joe Biden will hold these areas and will hold them comfortably. Donald Trump's biggest wins will come if he can retain the Rust Belt states he won in 2016, especially Pennsylvania. Nate Silver of 538.com had noted that Pennsylvania is most likely to be the tipping point state, with a likelihood of over 25%. On a county-by-county basis, I believe that voting patterns will reflect 2016, with Biden getting his strongest wins in densely populated urban areas, whereas Trump will be more dominant in rural sections of the United States. Finally, what of the influence of outside actors? First and foremost is the media. Pew Research notes that 65% of American adults have been closely following news about the 2020 election, with 30% stating that they were following news very closely and 35% fairly closely. However, only 58% of adults believe that the media is doing a good job at covering the election. Looking deeper into this statistic shows a clear ideological divide between Democrats and Republicans. Democrats have a 76% favorability with regards to media coverage of the election, whereas the figure is just 39% for Republicans. The distrust in the media is noted by the Columbia Journalism Review in one of their critiques of Donald Trump, stating that is what Donald Trump feeds on, engendering such distrust in the media that around 40% of Americans seem to accept almost everything he says, even in the face of incontrovertible reporting to the contrary, as a kind of thumb to the eye of the so-called coastal elites. Notorious instances of so-called fake news throughout the Trump presidency, such as the Steele dossier, have seemingly justified the increased levels of right-wing distrust in the media. In conjunction with this is compounded by the notable left-wing slant of cable mainstays such as CNN and MSNBC. I do also need to address the wider entertainment industry and its impact. Celebrities have had a long history of predominantly voting for left-leaning candidates. In 2018, the endorsement of Democratic Party candidates by singer Taylor Swift correlated with 210,000 new voter registrations across the US in just 2 days, the majority being in the demographic of 18 to 24-year-olds. However, these endorsements can prove to be divisive and potentially counterproductive due to some lacking political nuance or exhibiting aggressive stances in their policies or backing of political candidates. To sum up, I believe that broadly speaking, Donald Trump will win. However, victory for either candidate is dependent on who can claim the biggest wins in the Rust Belt, who can best energize their voter base, and who can maintain momentum through to November 3rd. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, leave a comment and share with your friends and family. And if you would like to see me do a more specific video on particular policies or a reaction video to the results of the 2020 US election, please share the video with your friends so that I can get more engagement. If I get more engagement, then there will be more content. Thank you.